Trainers of all types, drafters of all disciplines, welcome to the MagneZONE. I'm Cossack11, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts Clutch,
Hello.
Sam,
Hey.
and Adam.
What's poppin'?
Oh, so much is poppin'. Let's get right into it with the RDL. We're going to talk about the, what week is this? Week 8?
Week 8.
Yeah, the Week 8 matchups, and then Alola International Week 4?
That's correct.
Correct. Good. My memory is still operating, so I might not flub as much today. Then we'll talk about the free agent transactions for both those leagues, because there were a fair few. And we're now getting down to that time in the RDL where the playoff picture is starting to become more clear. Like, we can start to see it through the haze and fog of the midseason. We're kind of pushing through that. We're starting to see some outlines of
Maybe
what the
on one
playoff
side.
picture might look like.
Maybe on one side.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We're not quite out of the fog yet, but we're getting a clearer picture as we move forward, and we can start to kind of talk about that. So we will, but we'll do that after free agent transactions. But first, into the match summaries with the RDL. We're going to be talking about the match between Akron and Pittsburgh, and this was a 6-0 in favor of Akron. The Brings, Akron with Rotom Heat, Jellicent, Mega Altaria, Primarina, Mamoswine, and Miltank. Pittsburgh Steelix brought Keldeo, Uxie, Excadrill, Chestnut, Rotom, and Togekiss. So I noticed a couple of passive deaths there on the opposing side, and Miltank picking up one of those, Jellicent picking up the other. Pretty even kill spread, all things considered. You want to
no
comment
sweeping
on that?
this week. No sweeping. It was just kind of, I found my switches, and I just kind of made predictions and just went with the game.
Yeah, it was a fun game to watch in some ways. Like, I just felt like it. I mean, from prep, you really had it. I think.
I think matches with good, like, even kill spreads are usually more fun to watch than a sweep, because once the sweep starts, you know it's going to happen. Pretty much.
Yeah. I agree. Like, stuff where there's some trading and some switching, and people are making plays rather than just setting up and going. That is fun to watch. I agree.
Well, and especially when someone's got their rhythm going and they're just really they're nailing every switch. They're getting the good plays. That's actually as much fun as most matches are. This is actually probably the most fun 6-0 to watch. Except for maybe my 6-0 of Pack. Just saying, I think maybe for me it was more fun.
Well, in my opinion, only closely seconded by my 6-0 of you.
Oh, well. No, that's the thing. I can dish it out and also take it, because I freely admit that was a very well played match on your part. You found your switches, you got good rhythm.
And you made a good play in that game as well.
I've made many good plays in many games and won few of them. So,
but anyways, Adam's game was fun to watch. Yeah. I felt like you had the mind games with Keldeo for a bit. Like,
it was very.
He was afraid. Is I could literally go freely into Jellicent every time and then just predict what he would switch into.
Yeah, it was very systematic.
Yeah, and he taunted there, but like I think like. He would taunt predicting Jellicent, but
even then, Scald is free.
Yeah, if he was HP Electric, then like maybe he
was.
Oh,
all right.
At the end of the game, when he had Keldeo v Jellicent, I went into Mega Altaria and gave the last 2 kills to it, just so I can catch up in MVP.
Well then, with that bombshell, we'll move on to the next match here, which is Brooklyn versus the San Jose Sharpedos. 2-0, so a close match. Dragonite went in. The teams, Brooklyn brought Piloswine, Suicune, Crobat, Dragonite, Mega Venusaur, and Arcanine. San Jose Sharpedos brought Rotom Frost, Mega Gyarados, Victini, Sylveon, Garchomp, and Lycanroc Dusk.
Adam, you covered this one.
Yes,
I'm
I
reading
did.
over your summary.
Yeah, I talked with I don't say Cossack, Santora a little bit after it too.
Nice.
But pretty much he just put up rocks turn 1 and then just kind of controlled the pace of the game. Like there didn't really seem a point where there wasn't a scenario that he hadn't already thought of and how to get out of it, and he just kind of like controlled it pretty much.
That's how Santoro usually is. Santoro is very good at predicting what his opponent will bring.
He's very methodical.
Yes.
If you get the feeling like if you watch a Santoro game, there are games where maybe like he won this one 2-0, but you can watch it and you can just tell that he has the momentum. Like
Santoro is very controlling in the way he plays things.
And he actually could have had a 4-0, but he played it safely instead around the Garchomp v Dragonite at the end. But at that point, I think he knew he'd won, so he just played to make sure to solidify that.
Play to win, not play for the. Because like sometimes when you play for the 6-0, you could put yourself in a position to throw.
Well, that's the thing. Usually, I would say in 8 out of 10 situations, if you're in a situation where you're like playing where you have a chance to either play for the differential or play for the guaranteed win, you go for the guaranteed win and not for the differential. Because at the end of the day, the win is going to do you more good than the differential ever will.
Well, in most situations.
And that's why I said 8 out of 10. I'd say 8 out of 10 situations on a conservative estimate. There are situations where you just straight play for the 6-0.
I think that's like I don't disagree. I think playing for the win is what a lot of people will go
I
for.
will say
that's a safe bet.
You see a lot more playing for the differential once you get towards the latter half of the season, where that's where it's starting to come down to you've got ties that you need to break, and differential is one of the key ways to do that. So you see it a lot more towards the latter half of the season.
Spoiler: Santoro and I have the same, or Santoro and Clutch and I have the same record, and we're ahead by 1 point in differential. But anyways.
All right, moving on to the next match. Chicago versus the Oregon Golducks. All right, this was a 4-0 victory for the Golducks. The Golducks brought Escavalier, Tangrowth, Pelipper, Clefairy, Mega Houndoom, and Zygarde 50. Chicago brought Espeon, Toxicroak, Shaman, Rhydon, Blacephalon, and Mega Sharpedo.
This is the game where Ballistic hopped in chat right afterwards and was talking about how much he loved Escavalier, right?
Yeah. I watched this one.
How does it survive a hit from Blacephalon?
It didn't. Blacephalon didn't attack with a fire move. Oof. I don't remember if he like clicked Calm Mind or clicked Shadow Ball on a prediction. She did something. Maybe she might have switched in. I don't remember. But either way, Blacephalon down turn 1 to knock off. And then Mega Sharp comes in, crunches, does like 65%, and then just takes Mega Horn to the face and just falls.
Oh,
yeah.
And then I'm just like, oh, this game just,
yeah.
Oh, no.
Budget Wall Breaker, Escavalier, fantastic. Same typing as Scizor.
Budget Bulk.
Based on 135 speed is very nice.
Based on 135 speed? Pause.
Attack.
I was going to say, Escavalier got faster than I used to remember it being.
I think you're thinking more of like Excelgor, which is related.
I think like Mega Lopunny and Mega Electric.
Yeah, well then. Shell Smash Scarfed Escavalier. Yes, that's the set.
Yeah, there we go. Cool. Before Excelgor and Escavalier are the same Pokemon.
I mean, you have to trade like.
Oh man,
it's true.
I'm glad it was somebody else tonight. That's all I gotta say here.
But yeah, so Escavalier went in.
He's still young.
That's true. That's very true.
And
Escavalier gets Fellstinger?
Yeah, but I think it does.
I was just looking into it for next season.
Yeah,
I think it does.
Escavalier is great budget bulk. It's got excellent typing, good defenses, very strong attack, so it's not super passive.
Yeah, Escavalier gets Fellstinger.
Ooh, run an AV set with that? That's tight.
We get that boy in Trick Room.
Yo, Escavalier is not our Mon of the Week.
Why is this our Mon of the Week?
It's not.
It's not, but you know what? We'll keep it in mind for future Mons of the Week.
Yep.
Well, I mean, we already discovered it. We'll just soundbite clip it.
Add it at the end of the podcast. Yeah. No.
Just
okay. So, yeah, that pretty much sums up that match, though. I mean, Escavalier broke that wide open.
Brings.
I went over Brings.
Oh yeah, you did.
You
That's
did?
the first thing I did.
Wow, I was not listening.
Somebody should have been.
Youch. I could be wrong as well, but anyways,
All right,
the listeners
well,
will know.
Yeah. Moving on, we have EC versus Liverpool. I got handled. Although there were 2 massive crits in that game, but I'll talk about the brings first. EC brought Conkeldurr, Gigalith, Zebstrika, Megapincer, Latias, and Gastrodon. Liverpool brought Comfey, Diggersby, Jirachi, Alolan Muck, Serena, and Rotom Wash.
I agree there was hacks, but I also have to say that like Numa played Latias really well.
Yeah,
like,
Numa played that Latias very well. I'm not saying, and I'm not detracting from Numa's skill. Numa played that match well.
Yep.
Numa did a great job of predicting the switches, being aggressive with his win con.
Yeah, he could kind of play the Mega Pincer a little bit. But yeah, the crits were unlucky, certainly.
Yeah. They were unlucky, but I will say I still think he had the momentum, like for most of the match. Yeah. It wasn't like what happened with Adam and I, where I had the momentum and then missed a play rough and then had the momentum completely 180'd on me.
Yeah, he actually made pretty good use of Zeb, bringing in to grab Stepper boost.
Oh yeah, that actually temporarily threw me, but I was. Like, I pretty quickly saw my way around that one, but at the same time, it did it forced me to play differently because I couldn't use Serena as freely because I wasn't running I was running all grass moves on Serena.
Wow. Yeah, a crit devastating Drake just hurts.
And Alolan Muck still lived.
Yep, took 80%. From
Assault Vested Alolan Muck can tank a lot of damage.
That's a set. That's a good set. So
yeah. And then the crit on my Rotom Wash before I could get the defog up.
Yeah, I mean it hurts because you were really relying on those 2 Mons for like kind of to be like a little bit of a backbone for you.
Yeah, and the backbone got losing shattered,
him to crits,
man.
Losing him to crits hurts. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was bad. He also handled Comfey very well. He was very much predicting the Comfey sweep.
Yeah.
I really wish I'd brought Giga Drain on Comfey.
I did see that. I was wondering if you were going to click it, but
we didn't think because outside of Gigalith, there's not a lot that Giga Drain really hits.
Like Drain Kiss didn't hit
Gastrodon, but like Drain Kiss does enough to Gastrodon after like a +1 that you're fine. But
yeah. So
anyway, I lost 4-0. We shall move on to Galesburg. Now, was this Insanity's first match? Or
yes.
Okay, so this is Insanity's first match. It was a 1-0 victory for Galesburg. Insanity has taken over Galesburg. Neek had what was the reason?
That wasn't Neek. That was Edgar. That was Edgar's first match.
To be clear, we actually have 2 teams that were just taken over. Galesburg was taken over by Insanity from Neek, and Philadelphia was taken over by L. Edgar from Whitehawk.
Yeah.
So, and that was both of their first games. And so that was a weird match.
So. The brings, Galesburg brought Haxorus, Gliscor, Megalopony, Necrozma, Gengar, and Tornadus Incarnate. Anyway, Philadelphia Braviaries, Donphan, Kyurem Black, Megamanectric, Electros, Umbreon, and Metagross.
Yeah. Clutch and I watched this battle together and typed up the summary for it. This was a weird one because honestly, both of them kind of went for game early. And I think that it was a little bit more justifiable for Insanity, who led with Haxorus and Dragon Danced on turn 1 in front of a Donphan. Which was a little both Clutch and I.
The cojones.
Exactly, it takes some cojones, right? Like that's a play. And so Clutch and I are both watching it, and we're just like, well, what is he doing? Like, how do you go for game when there's a Donphan right out there? Because it's just going to like Earthquake and Ice Shard you. Exactly. That's both of us said that. We're just like, oh, it's coming. But no Ice Shard on Donphan. And what we found out later is that it was actually not a bad play because he's getting chip on Donphan for Megalop, which ended up really like just coming in, coming out. Like it got toxic, so it couldn't like stay in for long periods of time. And if you're just looking at the differential, you'd think that Lopunny swept because it got 5 kills.
But there was one of those things where it was he was setting up the pickoffs for the Lopunny.
I think that there was I think the play that we both thought was questionable, Clutch and I, was Edgar brought agility Metagross and set it up in the mid game when Gliscor was still at full.
And did not have Ice Punch.
Did not have Ice Punch.
Ooh.
So I mean, he was just sitting there, and he also brought Iron Head on.
Other than Kyurem, was he running any ice at all?
I don't know, honestly. Not that we saw, I don't think.
Because ice is pretty good here. Gliscor, Haxorus, like
he didn't bring Tornadus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good bring. But yeah, it really surprised us to see no ice coverage on Metagross and Iron Head over Meteor Mash, which I think I understand a little bit more. Just if you don't want to miss.
Yeah, like, I can get that. That's something I can understand because you're going for consistency over brute force there.
Yeah,
and that's an understandable decision because it's like the decision between Fire Blast and Flamethrower.
Yeah, I mean to a somewhat lesser extent.
Well, a lesser extent, but
I miss Meteor Mash.
But it's a similar decision, is what I'm trying to get at here.
Agreed. What else about this match? Oh yeah, the other thing was that the end game was a little bit weird. Because we were left with Mega Lopunny versus a nearly full Kyurem Black and a Mega Manectric. And so it came down to a speed tie because Lopunny was in on the Kyurem Black. It KO'd with High Jump Kick, and then immediately went to Mega Manectric, and it was a speed tie that Lopunny won, and Lopunny KO'd Mega Manectric, and the game was over.
Wow.
Clutch and I actually calced it later, and sure enough, I think our instinct on this was correct. And that's to say, if he had gone Mega Manectric and gotten the Intimidate on Mega Lopunny, Kyurem Black was in the range where it could have lived a High Jump Kick. So, and also Lop had no health left. It was honestly at like an 8th.
Jeez.
So a little bit of a misplay at the very end, but
it happens, especially when you talk about a close game like that. Like, moving on though to our next match, which is LA Chargebugs versus the San Antonio Sceptiles. Sceptiles take it 3-0. The Brings Sceptiles brought Thundurus T, Ambipom, Bronzong, Lucario, Megalatios, and Florges. The Los Angeles Chargebugs brought Electivire, Hoopa Unbound, Whimsicott, Salamence, Kecleon, and Mega Blastoise. Thundo T putting in work.
Yeah. Who saw this match? 1 second, I'm looking up.
That was me.
Oh, sweet. What did you think of it?
Meta had some damn good prep. Like, he brought a Whimsicott that was Cotton Guard Subseed Toxic and was just putting in work early game to chip down his walls. I thought it would work a little bit better if he did it mid game, but getting it set up early was good too. So either way, it was good. Honestly, he had Dominator on the back foot early. But once he lost Hoopa Unbound, the game was pretty much over.
Hoopa Unbound was kind of the only thing that could beat that team.
At that point, Hoopa Unbound could come in and revenge kill something every time, and because he was already up, he could have won. But he lost it to a Scarf Thundurus Therian, clicking U-turn after he'd already clicked Hyperspace Fury and had the defense drop. But
to be fair, I'm pretty sure
I'm not really sure why he stayed in.
I think
and risked that at all.
Scarf.
But like Scarf Thundurus Therian has to go through your mind.
If this is Scarf, I lose my Hoopa U.
And losing Hoopa U was huge because at that point, Florges was already chipped so much, it was a free kill on anything.
Yeah, and also, I mean, Hoopa U checks Mega Lati into the ground, really.
Yeah. So losing that kind of just flipped that game on its head, and Dominator managed to come back.
Yeah, well played by both sides.
I think the big surprise for me in that match is the fact that Dominator didn't bring Manaphy.
That's right.
I was really surprised by that. Just the fact that, like, Meta's team is really fairly slow, with its fastest mon being Tauros, I think. Tauros and Whimsicott. Tauros and Whimsicott. Whimsicott is fast, 116.
Yeah.
Like he only has two mons for base 100.
Tailglow Manaphy could have been really good.
Could have been. It could have. I mean, you can get free tailglows on like.
And Whimsicott's faster than Tauros.
Yeah, 116.
All right. Wow.
Like it's something that you look at and go, wow, that's really good. And Tailglow 3 attacks kind of.
Well, I can't argue with the results though. The results.
It worked
victory.
out.
Yeah.
Sure.
So. All right. Let's move on to the LA Solgallios versus the Ohio Ninetales. Victory for Michael, 3-0. That's the Ohio Ninetales picking up the win there. The Brings, Scrafty, Lando T, Galvantula, Volcanion, Kurem, #snubbed, Ferrothorn for the Ohio Ninetales, and the Solgallios brought Celesteela, Gligar, Mega Diancie, Incineroar, Buzzswole, and Zygarde 10%.
I watched this one. Like, the thing is, like, Michael prepped really well for this match, and he pretty much had matchup, I think.
Shocker.
Yeah, I know it's a shocker that Michael prepped well, but like, he kind of had matchup from what he brought, and like, the Kyurem set, he broke open the game with Kyurem, but once he got through Celesteela, which was kind of a weird interaction, because I learned a thing watching that match that Thunder hits things that use Fly. Fun fact.
Does it really?
Yep.
I think Thunderbolt does too.
Oh.
Celesteela went for Fly because it burned a Z move and it was going for something on, I think, on the Galvantula, and Michael went for Thunder on the Celesteela.
Oh man!
And it just took like 75-80% and died.
Oh man!
Ooh, that's dirty.
Like HP, it was HP flying Ice Beam Kyurem. He flat Oko to Buzzwole.
Wow. Yeah, that's tight.
And then like he eats a Drain Punch from Buzzwole and eats 1,000 arrows from Zygarde, and just proceeds to Oko both of those.
That's so good. Yeah.
And then he brings in this Sash Scrafty, takes the hit from Mega Diancie, kills with Iron Head, then gets the Drain Punch back Incineroar, and then proceeds to clean the game from there.
Wow. Jeez. Mike, I hope you're having fun playing Mons again, because it seems like it.
All right. Well, that actually takes care of all the matches that have happened so far for week 8.
Wait, no.
Has it not?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. It's not on the sheet. Okay, like.
Yeah, fair enough.
I didn't see that. I completely forgot about that. I'm sorry.
Well,
yes.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Seattle.
I can read the Brings here.
Yeah, Seattle versus Rochester.
Yep, just happened recently.
Yeah, as in today, recently.
Mm-hmm. As in, like,
wow, we're dating this podcast.
3 hours ago, recently. So on Seattle's side, you had Hippowdon, Celebi, Mega Scizor, Tyrantrum, Vikavolt, and Granbull. And on Rochester's side, you had Mega Beedrill, Darmanitan, Kangaskhan, Palisand, I almost said Como, Tapu Koko, and Weavile. So, I mean, Clutch and I could talk about this a bunch because, like, we did a lot of prep for this team. I think the big question for us was, Darm is coming. How do we deal with it?
Yeah,
because like
the Darm is coming.
Because our fire resists
is
aren't
it bad
fantastic.
that I want that as a T-shirt? Like Darm is coming, and it just shows like Darmanitan busting through a wall, Kool-Aid Man style.
And so we there were a couple things we did. I think some of the prep that I'm kind of proud of was running Protect on Hippo because we thought that it was
such a clean set.
Yeah, we because when we were building Hippo, we're like, we need this to answer Mega B and we need this to answer Darm. So we ran Protect, Rocky Helmet Hippo, built to take on Darmanitan and Beedrill specifically. And also Tyrantrum, fun fact, quad resists fire moves. So a Darmanitan locked into Flare Blitz was an easy come-in for a Scarf Tyrantrum, and Andrew's rock resists are limited.
And they don't like other attacks such as earthquakes or outrages.
And once Skarm and Tapu Koko are out of the picture, Outrage is a free click on that team. So that was our game plan, was just go in, don't let Darm come in for free. Don't let Darm run through us and get kills for Tyrantrum. And also, we had a Fire Mega Granbull set in the back, but
we're not gonna reveal that. No way.
Yeah, that's Salmon Clutch's secrets. That
ended up being Mega Granbull set.
Yeah, dude. We had it was a fun match. I thought
Well, it's not Z Healbell.
It was not Z Healbell.
Not Z Healbell. No.
Right.
But we had I think the big play for us, the point at which I think both of us started feeling more confident was when we got rid of Coco with Scarf Tyrantrum. I think we surprised him when we outsped, and we landed the Rockhead and took 80% of a Coco. It was great.
All right.
That's that game.
Yeah, that actually wraps up week 8, and that's every match from week 8 of RDL. We actually managed to get all the matches in 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that brings us to Alola International, and we'll start off as usual with the Lowland Quakes versus this week the Colorado Agrons. And this was a 6-0, but this was a 6-0 that happened because this was an Entei set I have never seen before.
The Entei was so cool.
It's so good. We got to read the brings
cool.
first, and then we can gush over this.
Yeah. I'm going to read the brings here. So the Lowland Quakes, Entei, Piloswine, Greninja, Caesar, Nidoking, and Megalatias versus the Colorado Agrons, Zygarde 50, Mega Manectric, Slurpuff, Mesprit, Tangrowth, and Heatran. And this Entei set, my God.
Oh my God.
What a set!
He actually had a slight problem getting it because Mimic Entei is extremely green only.
Yeah, it's extremely hard to get. So he was running Mimic on his Entei, and
that was the coolest.
He mimicked, what was it, Heatran's Earth Power?
Yeah.
Yep.
He mimicked Heatran's Earth Power, and then just swept.
Everything about that in that whole Entei.
Lava Plume, HP Ice.
Everything about the Entei went entirely to plan. He got it in when he led off with it and didn't switch. But he got exactly the result he was looking for on it, and just
when a plan comes together, am I right?
Yeah, for real. We should
have. I got a message from Grounded the day before that match happened. I was like, "Hey, you guys better talk about this X set if it works." I said, "Okay."
Well, it worked. We're here to tell you.
We're talking about it.
It fucking worked. That blew my mind. I haven't seen anything like that. That's nuts. That was the weirdest 6-0 I've ever seen.
But fantastic, right?
Oh yeah, it was brilliant.
Hilarious.
I was laughing the entire time. No offense to Colorado's coach, you would never have seen that coming. That was
Urflab got in chat afterwards, and he was kind of just like, "Dude, I just got sunned."
Yeah, dude,
I kind of knew it. But
wow.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see that coming though.
No, you can't.
You can't. It's not a set you prep for. It's like
I think it's one of those sets that's unique. Well, it's one of those sets that's unique to draft only. Because you can't use it in laddering.
It really doesn't.
You cannot use it in laddering. You will get goozled 9 out of 10 times. So
don't get goozled, kids.
Yeah. Moving on. Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Bennetts versus the LA Chargebugs. And this is a win for Meta. 5-0, The Brings, Mega Beedrill, Porygon 2, Dugtrio, Victini, Salamence, and Scrafty for the LA Chargebugs versus the Brooklyn Bennetts with Thundo T, Cofagrigus, Mega Tyranitar, Excadrill, Starmie, and Simisear.
Yeah, this is a rough match, I think. I watched this one. To me, it was like the issue, if you look at Brooklyn's Brings, is that there really wasn't a whole lot that was going to break P2.
Yeah, I'm noticing there's not a lot of breakers for P2 on this one.
It seems like the strategy for Slimy, and this isn't a horrible strategy, was that he brought T-Spikes on Cofagrigus, which is not that's decent prep. That's great. You want to get P2 toxic, you want it on a timer, you want it to make sure it can't just sit in there and recover on you all day. But the thing was, he set the toxic spikes when Mega B was still alive, and he let Koff-Rodriguez die for nothing.
No.
It basically just got outstalled by P2, which is just blasting it with ice beams.
Yeah.
And then like from there, like there's just no way to break P2. It just recovered on him for a while, and like I think he sacked Megatar a little bit early. He let Megatitar take a U-turn. I thought that was a spot where he probably could have gotten Excadrill in, because I thought the U-turn was pretty telegraphed.
This is
and what it comes down to is basically like once all the stuff that reasonably could have broken P2 was out of the way, P2 just came in and outlasted everything.
And this is something that you commonly see. This is like something you see it with P2, you see it with Cress. People under prep for those mons.
Yeah, because it's just like, oh, like it's just, it's a defensive mon, it doesn't do anything to me. But like it doesn't just needs to outlast
necessarily
you.
need to. Yeah, it doesn't need to do anything directly to you. It just needs to status a bunch of the mons on your team and then just sit there and blast away at you, and it's doing chip damage. It's not like it's not doing nothing to you.
Yeah, I mean P2's special attack is not nothing, and even uninvested, those
if you put it with an analytic boost, it actually hits reasonably hard.
Yeah. P2 is pretty nasty to deal with.
Yep. Base 105 is not awful.
This is why fighting coverage is so important. It really is. It really is. Or knockoff. At least bring something with knockoff against a good Eviolite user.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Slimy's other brings were.
Yeah.
I don't know really what his game plan was, but like there just wasn't much to break P2.
Yeah. And so we move on here, and it's week 4, Waynesboro Gallades versus the Atlanta Altarias. This was a close match. This is the thing with Nadia. She almost always has close matches.
Oof.
This one was a loss for her. 1-0 in favor of Waynesboro. They brought Mega Gallade, Torny T, Tapu Koko, Raichu Alolan, Dragalga, Jellicent. Atlanta brought Claydol, Thundurus, Aerodactyl, Whimsicott, Kartana, and Goodra.
Yeah, this is a good match for Atlanta early on. I really thought that she had it in the first half, because she started with Claydol, and I think she just like set rocks and then started firing off Earth Powers into Dragalge. And Claydol 1v1 Dragalge in this game. And then I think Claydol got another kill after that. Like Claydol went in.
Yeah, Claydol got 2 kills.
Like,
yep.
Yeah, it was so all of a sudden Atlanta has it 5v4. And I was actually helping Nadia prep a little bit and looking over things. She had put down Aerodactyl. She wanted that to come. And I looked at it, I was like, if you get hazards on this guy, Aerodactyl just kind of mows stuff down. Like Earthquake does a bunch to Tapu Koko, Stone Edge does a bunch to Tornadus, and of course Aerodactyl naturally outspeeds Tornadus if you invest it right. So I was like, Nadia, run this Life Orb, and she took that suggestion. But the one thing that, and this tells you that sometimes it really does come down to prep. The one thing that cost her the game is she didn't run Wing Attack or Aerial Ace on Aerodactyl. Because the last turn of this match is Aerodactyl, or at least it's one of the last turns, certainly, if not the last turn, is Aerodactyl in on a weakened Mega Gallade, and if she could just hit it super effectively, she would have won. That was all it took.
Yeah, sometimes it's not about what you brought, it's what you didn't bring.
Yep, and the thing is that she had some interesting tech to prepare for Mega Gallade. She had Attract on Whimsicott, because Mega Gallade has to be male. Right, and that would have been great, but Ethan ended up breaking through the Attract twice to KO the Whimsicott, and then it was just not relevant anymore.
Yeah,
I think Clutch made a good point that like in that case, like Stun Spore is actually kind of a better bring, because it's still priority. It only hits 75% of the time, but at least it persists after. Whimsicott.
After the mon is gone. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think it was a solid showing battle wise from Nadia, and I think it's just like. The thing that she's working on right now is her prep, and she's trying to do that more on her own, and like kind of ask for advice here and there. And I think that's actually like a really great thing, because like I think the way that she plays is actually like it shows out to be really well, and some of the sets she comes up with are really good.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well,
but
let's move on now. I think we've I think we've given that one enough attention. Let's move on. We have this match hasn't happened yet. That's the Los Angeles Lookers versus the Crane Lake Conkeldurs.
Yep.
That hasn't happened yet. So that brings us down to the Alola Archers versus the Akron Absols. And this is another 1-0 loss. This one was a win for Alola. Akron walking away with the loss there. Alola brought Mega Gardevoir, Guzzlord, Excelgor, Magmortar, MagneZOne, Lando T. Akron brought Electros, Hydreigon, Infernape, Slowking, Meloetta, and Amoonguss.
Honestly, that was a good match.
It was a
I
very
watched
good
that
match.
one.
Even though I lost, I had fun with that match. Like, I like playing Eclipse, and that was damn close.
There was a sequence in the middle of that match with the Excelgor
where he won.
Mm-hmm.
He won with that Excelgor.
That Excelgor set was brilliant on his.
I 100% read Water Shuriken, and when he clicked knockoff on my Infernape to clear my Scarf, I was like, well, I just lost.
Yeah, that was actually
I lost.
That was a really good play.
He knocked off the Scarf, and then he gets the next turn he gets a Spike.
That was perfect. I was just like, oh, I just got styled on. That was not good.
Because my thought watching that was like, because you see Excelgor and 99% of the time you know it's Sash, right? Like that's what.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be Sash.
Sash respects. It's like that. Those are the options. And the thing is that when I saw his Excelgor come in and your Infernape in, I was just like, oh, he just kind of goes for spikes now. But no, the knockoff was such a fantastic play. It's just so good.
For some reason, I was 100% predicting he's going to click Water Shuriken and get all 5 rolls and take out my Infernape. And there's nothing I can do about it.
Sounds like
I got to get this damage.
I mean, to be fair, and if it were me in that exact same situation, the exact same mons, that's exactly what I would predict too.
Knockoff was in the back of my mind, but I was like, is he going to really knock off my Infernape? Is that really going to...
Yeah.
It was a good play by Eclipse. And I was definitely talking to him, and I was kind of like, because he came to me and was like asking for some help, like just looking at like what to bring for Adam, and I was like, Spikes is a really good bring here. You get a layer of that on him, and that chip is gonna hurt. And like he got mid game Spikes, and he did it. Yeah, he won with those 2 turns. You're absolutely right. So.
All right.
Darn good game.
Yeah, on to the next match. Virginia Caesars versus the Seattle Supersonics.
Scully! Young Scully! Young Scully!
2-0 win for Seattle.
Yo, I gotta get Scully to MVP now. I got some catch-up work to do.
So, Seattle Supersonics brought Scolipede, and Scolipede. No, I'm just kidding. That's not what they brought. They did bring Scolipede, but they also brought Mamoswine, Haunter, Mega Mawile, Uxie, and Rotom Wash. Virginia bringing Tapu Fini, Bisharp, Emboar, Delmise, Galvantula, and Archeops.
This, I will say, as much as like, I don't think the kill record shows this, but because it's 5 kills by Scolipede, but the way it happened was definitely like it had me a little bit on the edge, like because the prep for this team was really like I brought Specs Haunter, I brought a lot of things. Like the idea was bring poison coverage because he doesn't have much for it other than Bisharp, which was something I was pretty confident I could break. He brought Rocky Helmet, bulky Bisharp against me, which was weird. But I mean, I guess not bad because it actually kind of did hurt me. But yeah, it was a good match. The goal was set up Fini and sweep, and once Bisharp was out of the way, the road was pretty clear for it. And the way that the match ended was that I mementoed on his Calm Mind Fini, got in Scolipede, set up 2 Swords Dances, and cleared out the last 3 of his Mons. It was fun. Also, my favorite turn of this was clicking Rocky MZ on Archeops, because that thing died multiple times over. But yeah, honestly, like that one match sold me on Scolipede, because like Swords Dance Scully is fantastic, and also just like the fact that I have it as a Z user, and as an option for speed passing to things.
Yeah.
I love it so much. Young Scully is the MVP to my heart right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, continuing along here on Alola International Week 4, we have Huddersfield Heracross versus the Brisbane Scythers.
Ooh.
Oh, it was so much fun to watch.
Yeah, this is a 2-0. It was a close match in favor of Brisbane. Brisbane walking away with the win. They were bringing Reuniclus, Ferrothorn, Florges, Zygarde 10%, Tornadus Incarnate, Mega Medicham, Huddersfield with Jolteon, Salazzle, Gliscor, Mega Venusaur, Latios, and Melodic. A lot of speed on Huddersfield's team here this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and on Brisbane to an extent.
Yeah.
That's a faster Brisbane team.
Yeah. Fielding Zygarde 10%, that's a good thing. And that Zygarde 10% ends up being scarfed as well, and it goes in. It does a lot.
Really nice.
Yep.
Yeah, Clutch and I watched this game together. This is we both thought it was fantastic. This was fun to watch because there were doubles and reads all over the place. I think Oliver kind of came in with this. It seemed like he came in with the knowledge that he had to stay a step ahead. And in the early game, he doubled into Salazzle as D. Willie went to Ferrothorn, and as he switched out of Ferrothorn, Oliver set a sub with Salazzle, and Clutch and I were just it was flabbergasted. It was fantastic because he played Salazzle so well.
It was a really well played Salazzle,
and it shows. He picked up 3 kills with it.
Yep, and the unfortunate thing though is I think that he started to kind of.
He got too far ahead of himself.
Yeah, he got too far ahead of himself a couple times. There were a couple switches that were a little bit premature. And there was a turn where I think D. Willie expected him to sub with Salazzle, and he left Ferrothorn in on Salazzle. And if Oliver had just clicked Flamethrower right then and there, or Fire Blast, I think he was packing Flamethrower.
I think he was Flamethrower as well.
Yeah, that's my recollection. But if he had just clicked Flamethrower right then and there, he'd have claimed Ferrothorn, and not doing that came back to bite him later. I think he actually went for some other move.
He swapped entirely.
He swapped. That's it. Yeah.
Because Ferrothorn went for Rock has Mega Vent or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. That's what happened. And to me, it was just I think that was a spot where there was a free sub because really there wasn't a whole lot on the other side. I don't think there was a lot that Brisbane had that took hits well from Salazzle. No. Zygarde resists the stabs, but also Zygarde is quite frail.
Yeah.
Well, Zygarde 10 is quite frail.
Zygarde 10 is not the bulkiest boy.
Yeah.
No. It's the goodest boy, but not the bulkiest. But yeah, and then honestly, once in the mid to late game, Mega Medicham just starts coming in and just beating things.
D. Willie has shown he can use that.
Oh, yeah. There are 3 4-0 teams in this league right now. There's Grounded's team, Lowland. There's Eclipse's team, the Lowland Archers, and then there is Brisbane. And D. Willie's a newcomer. He drafted Ferropex, with his first and second pick. And a couple people were a little bit skeptical of that, but he put together a big, fantastic team around him.
Yeah. So
Mega Medicham is such a good breaker around them.
This week is not going to be fun.
To cap off our match coverage for this podcast, and also to cap off our match coverage for week 4 of Alola International, we have the Kyoto Clef Keys versus the California Kyogres. Another 1-0. This has been a week of very close matches for Alola International. And the brings California with Mega Garchomp, Kyurem Black, Sylveon, Xurkitree, Alolan Muck, and Empoleon. Kyoto with Mega Latios, Metagross, Machamp, Moltres, Weavile, and Rotom Cut.
The early game by Inference was really nice. He had this really nice play where he went for Wisp. Garchomp was oh, nice. Because a burn Mega Garchomp is a lot less of a threat.
Mm-hmm.
And then then the Eevee brought in this Kyurem Black. Went for Earth Power. Didn't quite kill the Rotom Cut. And Rotom Cut Volt switched. And then I think he went to something. I think it was Machamp. I don't know. I think entirely what it was. I think it was a Machamp, and it just fell back to Outrage. then he went Moltres after, for some reason, and it died to Outrage, and then he went Metagross after the Confusion turns it procced.
Yeah, he sacked a couple things to Outrage before.
Which you shouldn't have necessarily.
Yeah, especially because I think wasn't Moltres a pretty good matchup?
Moltres is a really solid breaker against Eevee's team. Yeah.
Well,
one of the things that just like kind of, and once he lost Moltres, you can tell that Infrarouge was on his back foot, and he had to play up, and he tried to play up, and he pulled it to a 1-0, and he put it. It was a Metagross versus a Alolan Muck.
But without the Moltres, he just didn't quite have the steam to
he didn't
make
get any damage on. He needed damage on a Alolan Muck.
Yeah. All right. Well,
it's kind of crazy as well. Just a side note, like that's why if he had saved it, you probably could have gotten the damage off, and then maybe it would have been his game. Yeah. Hard to say though.
It is hard to say. As such is the way of Mons.
Such is life.
Such
is Mons.
That wraps up our match coverage. For those of you who are only interested in match coverage, you can now go back to whatever it is what you were doing. We would like you to keep listening if at all possible. But now we're going to go into free agent transactions. And once again, we'll start with the RDL. And there's been a lot of transactions, despite the fact that up to this point, most of the teams had already used up all their free agent transactions. And that's because we've had some coaching changes. We talked about that recently. Let's go to the roster changes. And we already talked about Numa's Mesprit stuff.
Yeah, so we're on Insanities and Edgar's changes.
All the trades are basically just
new coaches
coming in and swapping.
And I'll explain this briefly because I don't know if we explained this the last time, but when a new coach comes into the RDL and takes over an existing team, they get 6 extra free agent transactions to mold the team into a team they'd more like to play. This keeps someone who jumps in from getting completely railroaded into maybe using a team they're not exactly comfortable with. And it also allows them to have that flexibility to kind of get something more in their wheelhouse. Because there's usually, even with, 16 teams, there's usually quite a bit left on the board for them to pick up if they need to. And in this case, Insanity decided to drop Megalopony for Mega Gallade. They dropped Gengar for Kommo-o, Haxorus for Delmise, Roserade for Delphox, and they dropped Magmar for Aridos.
RIP to Eviolite Magmar.
Yeah.
Thank heavens. Hated dealing with that thing. Flame Body's an awful ability.
You have a Tyrantrum.
Boy, he burned my Staraptor as I U-turned.
You have a Tyrantrum.
Okay, but pause.
That man has an Empoleon. That man has an Empoleon.
All right,
who leaves Magmar in on Starmie and a Tyrantrum?
All right, well let's talk about what we think of these. He's definitely now hard stacked into Psychic types with this.
Four of them.
Ghost Resist is a Sneasel.
Oof.
And on top of that, Delmise is also Dark Weak. But he did add Kommo-o, which deals with Dark types reasonably well. So.
And I think Bulletproof can take Shadow Ball, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it can.
It doesn't take anything back because it's a ballistic move.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean that could work. I'm not so sure about these. I need to see results before I can fully condone these particular transactions. But hey,
wow, wait, yikes! He comes in and faces Santoro.
Yeah, Insanity has a tough next 4 games.
Yep, we've discussed this privately, but I think we should talk about it later in the podcast.
We will. We're going to talk about it when we talk about the playoff picture.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's a brutal one.
But let's move on to the next new coach here, El Edgar 28. And he's taking over Philadelphia. Whitehawk had to step down for reasons.
Yeah.
So anyway, best to him. Hopefully he'll be back for another league. Who knows?
Whitehawk's a fantastic coach.
Very good coach. Same with Neek. Neek was,
of course.
Whitehawk's record does not reflect the outcomes of his games. Like 1-6 in his games, and he was like minus one.
There was a point at which he was like 1-4 and -1.
Yeah, it was.
I think it was something
ridiculous.
like that.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on to
this. It was 1-6 -12.
So
there you
go. So he's dropping Tapu Bulu for Tornadus T. He's dropping Hawlucha for Rotom Cut. He's dropping Audino for Liepard, Mega Manectric for Mega Lopunny, Electros for Aromatisse, Archeops for Illumise.
And Torn-T takes over as his Z captain.
Yep.
And okay, here's the funny thing is that he got there. This is the team that had 5 kills on it by Mega Lopunny. And then
now has Mega Lopunny.
A week later has Mega Lopunny.
Yeah.
So we didn't. The last set of moves was a little bit weird to me and to a couple other people, and that's fine. You know, maybe he's got a team that works for him. But I think Edgar's moves are interesting as well, because they're dropping Bulu and Lucha that's a big shift in tone.
That's a big shift in tone, but I think it might be. I don't know, because I don't know much about Edgar, but I would assume the reasoning behind that is Edgar isn't familiar or isn't comfortable with using the Bulu Lucha core.
That's fair.
Why are we not calling this the Bulucha core?
I was about to say it's pronounced Bulucha.
The Bulucha core, and that honestly, and well, you also have to remember that the point in the season that we're at here, he can feel comfortable in dropping the Bulucha core, being reasonably certain that no one's gonna pick up the Bulucha core and use it against him.
Uh-huh. And I think when Tornadus T is left on the board, like that's something that it has staying power. It has. I mean, we've raved about that mon so much.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, a lot of the other drops are a little bit like more. I'd say like kind of tangential. Like Lucha gets dropped because he had to drop a tier 1 to get a tier 1. So dropping Bulu is makes sense. Dropping Hawlucha after that makes sense. He had to drop it for a lower tier so that he could get Mega Lopunny.
Mm-hmm.
And then he restructured his tier 5s and his tier 4s.
Yep. And I mean, I don't really know how this is gonna work, but it might just
money.
Yeah.
I will say that the way that he's restructured this team, to me, there's a lot of logic behind it. You notice that he drops his fairy / grass type, and in his switches, he picks up a good grass type in Rotom Cut, and he picks up a budget fairy in Aromatisse.
Yeah.
So.
And you'll note that a lot of his switches, like Aromatisse, can play kind of a bulky, not necessarily offense, but definitely can do offense if necessary. That's
a really cool like trick room nasty plot set.
Right, and also it has it can work as a support set. And you'll note he's dropping Audino, which is normally what he would use in that position. But and he's also dropping Electros, which he would use in kind of like the bulky offensive pivot situation. So I think he's definitely got a plan in place. He's got a plan and strategies and synergies in place with these moves. There's a clear plan behind this. There's thought put
all the
into
Volt
these.
Turn he has on this roster now.
Yeah.
With Torn and Rotom Cut.
Yeah. Like he's got a really good Volt Turn core there.
And like just a ton of different Volt Turn options. Then there's a Kyurem Black in the background, and there's a Mega Lopunny in the background.
Yeah. You know what just hit what just processed in my head is that we have to play this team, Clutch and I do.
Shoot.
In like a week.
That's right.
Yeah, you guys
prepping for I thought we were only gonna have to I thought we were only going to have to prep for Mega Lop once. Insanity, why did you have to drop it, dude? It takes like 10 minutes to get max happiness. Seriously.
Oof.
Ouch.
Now I have to prep for it twice. It hurts.
Anyway, so that pretty much covers the RDL side of the free agent transactions. There was a fair amount that happened on that front in the Alola International side, though. Let's talk about those.
Correct.
So those are on the free agency trades.
Yep. We got Slimy and Infrage making big moves.
Oh yeah.
It's 3 moves from Slimy and 5 from Infrage.
Didn't Ace also make some, or is that?
I think we talked about those.
Oh yeah,
last
we
week.
did. That's right. Those were mid last week.
Because Adam pulled us back and was like, "How are we not going to talk about Mega Pincer?" That happened.
Yeah, that's right.
I was
Yep.
Well, I kind of
remember
wanted to because I had a hand in that.
Yeah.
And if I ever bothered to put in production values, this is where I would insert a flashback to us and like that happening. But since
little
I'm
like
too lazy,
dreamy sound effects as we all think back to the days of yore.
Yeah. But unfortunately for everyone listening, I am too lazy for that, and so you'll just have to imagine that happening or go back and listen to that portion.
But
let's talk about the here and now, which is that Slimy dropped Hitmontop for Embor, he dropped Simisear for Livani, and he dropped Haxorus for Kyurem. #snubbed.
Pretty
bold moves here.
Kind of lateral though, right? Like,
yeah, definitely
just
lateral.
Tier 3, Tier 4s, and Tier 5s.
He gets webs. He gets webs, I guess.
With Livani, yeah, he does.
Like, I don't know. That's Brooklyn, right?
Yes, Brooklyn. Embor on webs is nice.
Embor on webs is kind of nice. Drill on webs is kind of nice.
Notably, he does
You
lose.
guys think can appreciate being on webs?
He does lose a little bit of hazard control with Hitmontop being out of the picture, though.
Hitmontop's garbage hazard control anyway.
Oof. All you Hitmontop fans out
fighting
there.
words.
Yeah.
Considering the next person picked it up.
Yeah.
I think it's garbage.
So let's talk about that.
Garbage hazard control, but let's
Infrage.
Come on.
Yeah. So, what do you think of the moves? I don't know. I like.
Let's. I guess we'll talk more about Slimy's moves first.
Just real quick.
Well, I don't know. I think the dropping Simisear is kind of a reaction to this week. I think Simisear hasn't been performing up to what Slimy wants it to, which is frankly not surprising because it's Simisear. But
like, I will note that in watching that game, Simisear set up a nasty plot and did 60% to Porygon 2. It was like his best chance at whittling that thing down, but it got toxic, I think.
Yeah.
It was just on a timer. It wasn't going to make it. But like Simisear has put in work for him, but it's also just like I think
it's not enough work, and I think he's realized like he's decided that he's got better options on the board, and Simisear needs to go.
Yeah, I do think
Embor is a better fire type. Yeah, pretty much, and it covers that fighting type and fire type pretty well, which allows him to pick up that Livani. It's got, I mean, with grass and bug, it's an interesting coverage, and also it's got sticky webs, which is mostly what Livani is kind of for.
Yeah, it's
Tier 5 sticky webs.
And the switching of dragons is interesting. I feel like for that he's just, I think he likes the stat I would imagine it's because of the stat distribution, because otherwise I don't see much reason for switching dragons.
Haxorus is kind of, it's funny because it's good. It can function as a breaker. It's good speed control with a scarf, and like it's a good setup sweeper. But like, it is also kind of limited occasionally. Yeah. Like people, you know what Haxorus is doing, and you can run one or like it's not hard. It's not hard to prep for. Kyurem is harder to prep for than Haxorus.
Well, yeah, and it comes down to move pool and stat distribution, really. And I think it's a good pickup. I mean, there's a reason we keep saying #snubbed whenever Kyurem gets brought up. Yeah. It's a good mon that gets overlooked quite frequently.
Kyurem in the right hands is a fantastic mon.
It's one of those things that's like really, really bulky naturally. And like it has a higher base special attack than Kyurem Black does. Like, it hits pretty hard even if you're not invested.
Yeah.
So, like,
you can do a lot of interesting things with Kyurem that
you can run a lot of different sets.
Like you said, I think it comes down to the flexibility thing. Kyurem is more flexible than Haxorus. And that's important. So moving on.
It also gets reliable recovery, which is nice.
Yeah. Moving on to Infrared. These are effective week 6. So I guess.
Yeah, these happened yesterday.
Yeah. So he is dropping Stack Attacka for Bisharp. I mean, Bisharp better than Stack Attacka, but I mean it's also just Bisharp. I'm gonna level with everyone listening. None of us here are big fans of either of those mons.
I think we all bonded over the fact that we all kind of hate Bisharp.
Bisharp's
Yeah.
By Sharp.
Bisharp's entirely overrated in my full
But if you keep scrolling down,
Yeah, but he did also
he's a Manaphy
yeah, he
in a Togekiss.
Okay. Let's not get ahead of ourselves now. He dropped Gyarados for Togekiss, which I think that's a good pickup. I like Togekiss. Togekiss is one of my favorite
Togekiss
mons.
is so good.
And
I've been using it in UPA.
yeah. And
so
dropping Weavile for Manaphy, I mean, it's Manaphy, man.
It's Manaphy.
He's losing a little bit of speed, but he's getting some Tail Glow power in there.
Tail Glow power. I think the Rain Dance, like the Calm Mind Rain
yeah.
Dance set, is more dangerous.
Yup.
'Cause
I think again, it's a situation where someone's dropping. They're dropping for flexibility purposes because Weavile's not very flexible. Weavile, you're running it Scarfed or you're running it Banded or Life Orbed, and you're either running Swords Dance on it or you're just running Knockoff, Pursuit, Icicle Crash, and Ice Shard.
Yeah. It's a very straightforward,
it's a very straightforward
similar moves. Almost
it's pretty easy to predict. Now, that's not saying that Weavile still isn't useful because it's Weavile. It's fast, hits like a freight train, and it's got excellent offensive dual stab.
Oh, yeah. It's a tier 1 for a reason.
And honestly, Weavile, if you look at Weavile, it's almost like it was tailor-built to kill Lotties.
Oh, probably because it probably was, honestly.
No, the Lotties actually came... Well... Sneasel came out before the Lotties did.
But... Yeah, but then Gen 4 came around and they were like, it was like, you know that clip?
You might be right.
That meme clip of the old dude being like, anime was a mistake.
Yeah.
That was Game Freak being like, the Lotties were a mistake.
Well, I mean, I'll just say real quickly, that was... that I think the clip that gets passed around, that guy's cosplaying as... God, I don't know why I suddenly can't remember his name. He's a guy he founded Studio Ghibli.
Okay.
And so he did all the stuff like Spirited Away, Kiki's Delivery Service, all that stuff.
And now for your random segue.
Yeah.
From the MagneZONE.
Well, I just thought I'd bring that up there because, yeah. Because I'm an anime nerd. Anyway, moving on.
Fair enough.
He gains a bulky water in Manaphy.
Yes, he does.
He gains a different kind of water type than Gira.
And a setup sweeper.
I'm not sure if I like swapping Machamp for Hitmontop.
Yeah, that's the next thing. Machamp for
might have been a
Hitmontop.
points thing, I think.
Huh?
Might have been a points thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's a points thing.
And yeah, that is the next move. Drop Machamp for Hitmontop.
And Skuntank is dropped in favor of Frostlass, which, as we all know, is functionally the same mon as Crustle.
Oh no!
Gotta make that joke, but I was holding myself back.
You brought it up, not me.
Yeah, no, I brought it up. I'm being completely facetious here. I know that they are not the exact same mon.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, I'm not. I don't
This team no longer has a dark type.
Oh.
Oof.
That's yeah.
And does he play?
And as we've established, like in previous discussions, maybe not necessarily on the MagneZONE, but if we haven't, then we are now. Which is
bulky psychics should be your biggest fear in the entire world.
That is a paddling. If you don't have a dark type, that is a paddling.
Yeah, it's a dangerous spot to be in. It does force you to adjust. And honestly, like a dark type, like the coverage it affords you is kind of weird, but also very important.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So
that covers all the free agent transactions for this week in both Alola International and the RDL. We'll be moving on now to the playoff picture for the RDL because the RDL is much farther along in their season than Alola International is. Mm-hmm. And actually, that's something we need to talk about after the podcast. We need to talk about what are we going to do when RDL is done, because there's quite a bit of space between
fourth wall broken
3 and season 4.
We are real people, everybody. Guess what?
Well, I wanted to just kind of briefly bring it up here, only because the listeners should know, because we are going to have to adjust our formatting accordingly and figuring out how we're going to do that and how we're going to make that transition. I have a few ideas, but we'll do that. The actual idea discussion we'll hash out later. I just wanted to bring that up right now, and then I probably won't bring it up again until playoffs.
And also, I just realized I actually have an announcement after we talk about the playoff picture, but we will come back to that.
Well, let's talk about the playoff picture for the RDL. It's a tight race. It's still anybody's game.
Oh my gosh. When the team that's 8-0 can feasibly miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
With 4 games left, that's it. 4 games left.
Yeah, so let's take a look at those standings here. So we have the Kanto division. Right now, at the top of the Kanto division is Ballistic with 5-3 plus 11 differential. The LA Chargebugs is in second with a 5-3 record, but they have a plus 6 differential. Koala with the LA Solgalios is in third because he has with a 2-6 record, has a minus 9 differential. And Cossack, as usual, rounding out the bottom of his division with Liverpool BC at 2-6 record, minus 14 differential. Johto division, Mike with the Ohio Ninetales is 6-2 with a plus 16 differential. Dominator, not far behind with a 5-3 record and a plus 5 differential. Numa with EC Gastrodons is 3-5 with a minus 5 differential. And Storm is 0-8 with a minus 35 differential. Down to the Hoenn division. Santoro, the Brooklyn Bulbasaurs, a 6-2 record with a plus 13 differential.
And technically, Supersonics are first now.
Yeah, right now we the Supersonics are in the lead just barely with a 6-2 record and a plus 14, and then Santoros are behind it. Just the spreadsheet hasn't been updated yet.
Yeah, the spreadsheet has not been updated.
Happened like
it happened very recently, like hottest off the presses recently.
Yep.
The Philadelphia Braviaries are 1-7 with a minus 13 differential, and the Pittsburgh Steelix, coached by Rich and LC, are 0-8 with a minus 34 differential. Alola division, Insanity with the Galesburg Gliscors, 8-0 with a plus 20 differential. Adamant, the Akron Alakazams, 6-2 with a plus 21 differential.
Jeez, Adam.
I win.
Chill.
Adam, the murderer.
Can we just take a moment that I don't think I've ever actually been differential leader.
That is, that's
interesting. I win like 1-0-2-0.
So Hive with a 5-3 and a record with a plus 0 differential, breaking even on the kill death ratio. And Andrew with the Rochester Rock'n'Rollers 4-3, 4-4 with a plus 1 or plus 4 differential. All right.
Why'd you say plus 1? What?
I don't know. I wasn't really thinking.
We just
everyone mark off your bingo cards.
3. Yeah, this is a classic. I can't. It finally happened. My mind broke. We all knew it was coming. We all knew it was
so well.
I was so close. I just had to hold out.
All right. So, I think that what we should talk about are the conferences, kind of as a whole.
Yeah,
and
the conferences.
We can start with the Moon Conference because the Moon Conference is awful.
Yeah.
And specifically the Alola division, because that's the lowest ranked player in Alola right now is Andrew, who's 4-4.
Yeah.
4-4 with a positive differential.
4-4 with a positive differential. If we had lost to him today, and he had the differential to overtake Hive, he could have been, what was the situation?
It would have been a 3-way tie.
There's a situation in which we could have a 3-way tie with us, with Seattle, with Rochester, and with San Jose, and in which Andrew could be at the bottom of his division, but could still be making playoffs.
Yeah.
It was a very, very weird scenario, but we won instead. So
yeah.
Well, he would have
good game, Andrew.
He wouldn't have been the bottom.
It was a really good game, Andrew.
He wouldn't have passed Hive, but he also has the record against Hive, I think.
No, he would.
Yeah, no, Hive beat him. Never mind.
Yeah, because Andrew went winless in first.
Yeah,
round
you're right.
regionals.
He would have passed Hive on a differential. That's right.
Yeah.
Which then means only Santoro comes out of your division.
Yeah, which is
If we ended at that time.
Because we've got and I mean that's what we're scrapping for right now. Because the crazy thing
It's
is
very
that like
much a
Hive is sitting
fight.
on the outside of playoffs right now with a 5-3 record, and over in the other conference, a 5-3 record is good for 3 playoff spots.
Yeah. Yep. I mean.
Sorry, Cossack.
Yeah. Well.
Cossack,
It's
the
nothing.
Kingmaker.
It's nothing new to me. I'm once again. I find. Yeah. Exactly. Once again, I find myself out of the playoffs, but in the Kingmaker position.
Yes.
Based on who I defeat and how badly I defeat them, I get to choose which person from Kanto makes it to playoffs.
Or the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need somebody, and I mean, if someone's gonna make it in Kanto and Johto, other than the 4 that are in right now, I think it's worth talking about this just to sidestep a little bit.
Numa could do it.
New meta could do it.
Yeah.
Because he's actually has a fairly easy schedule comparably coming up compared to like some of the new coaches like Insanity.
Insanity is like the toughest schedule I think of any player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just dish him 3 quick L's, get me up to the top of the division, and then so I can feel safe.
Yeah, dude.
So hopefully I don't take an L this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. So that's a match of conference titans, my guy.
The funny thing is,
you realize I'm re-prepping right now.
The funny thing is, we're getting close.
You.
Well, we're getting close to the divisional rematches, but we can't call it the Cossack Revenge Tour because I beat 2 out of the 3 people in my division.
Yeah, it's true, and you didn't get 6-0'd twice.
No,
it's not a revenge tour.
I haven't gotten 6-0'd at all this season. Where's some wood I can knock on so that
Dude, that's an improvement.
Yeah. Like, I'd rather not get 6-0'd, just putting that out there.
Tears the door off the hinges so that you can knock on it while you sit at your table.
Well, no, I have a wooden TV stand next to me, so it all works out. So, yeah, that's the playoff picture very much still up in the air for both conferences.
Yeah, and certainly very much so for the Moon Conference. Like, nobody's safe with divisionals coming up.
Oh, yeah.
And it's true, because, like, Galesburg could theoretically plummet out of playoffs.
It's very it's an outside possibility, but a possibility nonetheless.
Yep.
It requires that Andrew really like step up, or
Andrew has to win
really
divisionals. Andrew and Hive have to win divisionals, and Andrew is not known for winning divisionals. No,
and of course
Andrew, but like he's kind of a thing.
And it's at this moment that I'd like to remind everyone that this podcast is brought to you by viewers like Andrew.
Thank you,
Andrew.
Good time for the shout out.
Yeah,
it is true. We love you, Andrew. Your team is great. We hope you do well. We wish you great things in life.
Your team terrifies me.
Anyway,
good thing we only had to play it once.
Yep. So that's pretty. I think that pretty much gets the gist across of the current playoff picture, which is still very unclear. Like I said, we haven't gotten out of the fog yet.
It's fun though. I mean, a 3-way tie at 6-2 is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And a 3-way tie at 5-3.
Like we talked a little bit about last season. We were talking about the season 2 of RDL and how much that was like a knife fight. And a couple like towards the end there.
The division I was in was just like stabbing at each other essentially, and we kicked a couple. We had 3 people in the playoffs out of our division.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
And I think we're running into a similar situation.
And we kind of essentially stabbed Meta out of the playoffs in that whole situation.
Yeah,
so,
I want to talk about one
thing from Alola.
Yeah, I want to see one thing right now, and I want to know. So Neek dropped, and so the question I have now is, who are the favorites to make finals in each conference right now?
Well,
because I think that
Santoro and Mike.
Definitely Santoro and Mike.
Definitely agree there. I need some ballistic out of Kanto.
I think Adam, not to be that guy, but like I think Adam has a kind of a dark horse shot at making finals as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the
21 with 6-2 is insane.
Here's the problem with like predicting like favorites right now is we have 3 new coaches who literally just popped up, and I have not seen enough of any of them to like gauge how well they're going to handle these next few weeks.
I know that Insanity is good friends with Ken or Santoro, so
okay.
I feel like you'll be good.
Yeah, so it's possible, like, it's not discounting the new coaches. It's entirely possible that Insanity is just gonna go ballistic.
Yeah, I just wanted to keep that firmly into everyone's mind that we haven't seen these guys really battle that much. The reason we can make these predictions with like other coaches, Mike is
known commodities.
Yeah, Mike and Santoro are regular visitors to the playoffs, and like Santoro's made it to championships twice.
Can I just say that if we have Mike versus Santoro, like a season 1 finals rematch,
that would be
with their 2 teams, with their 2 teams though, dude,
that'll be a match to
Mike
watch.
has a stacked team, and Santoro has a Santoro team that is Santoro F. Like,
yeah, that'll be a really good match.
Can I talk about that? I just fit the word Santoro into a sentence 3 times.
I applaud you for that.
Well, thank you.
I noticed, and I appreciate that.
So,
I think Ballistic, has the edge right now in Kanto, but we'll see how I think that one's definitely going to come down to divisionals.
I think Meta makes it though.
Meta might, yeah. I think he's got a good chance. He's got the differential right now. He's got it. It's going to depend on how well he does in his next week or his match this week, and then it's going to depend on how well he does in divisionals.
I think he pretty much steals it if he gets like 1 or 2.
Yeah,
all he needs I think if he wins this week, it's just about guaranteed.
Yeah, it's just about
because a 6-3 record is good.
Yeah.
Yo, okay.
But
is
it's
that everything?
Not good enough for Moon.
Nope, not good enough. So. Do we have anything more to say on that?
No, I think that pretty much covers it.
So, anyways, I have something I want to say.
Okay.
I think this is not deliberate, and this is an announcement for RDL, but I got this approved through Mike this week. And
I think I know what this is.
I did not intend to announce this, but we are going to have a return of the All-Stars event.
Yes, that was so good.
That didn't actually happen last season.
Well, yeah, the game didn't happen last season, but at least we had like an all-star team.
True. Yeah, I actually had a team built.
But things happen. I think so.
If we get a chance to schedule the battle this year, I don't know if we'll be able to do it over Wi-Fi, but if we do it over Showdown, I would definitely commentate for it. I'm not going to be a coach for it, but
I think the thing I like, I'm warming to the idea of doing a showdown match now, just because like we can actually spectate it. We can actually spectate in real time, and I think that's cool.
Yeah.
So what I'll say is that I'll be running the voting again. I'll be taking care of all of that. It'll probably be like I might shorten the voting period because we have a shorter season compared to last year. But I'm really excited to see how it comes out.
Oh yeah,
I think we've had some really good mons this season.
Yeah, we've had some breakout mons for sure.
Yeah, and honestly, it was just like I think even just like for people like having the feeling of like choosing like mons, like it's just I like it as far as like league engagement goes.
Yeah.
And because like a lot of people, like it was fun talking to people last season because people would be like, "Oh, this made it. I didn't think I was gonna have any all-stars," and it's like it was like just fun. So I'll try and get the Google Forms in place for that. Start voting. But that's all I got.
Well, that's awesome, and I can't wait to get that process started, and we'll be sure to be covering that every step of the way. So.
Yeah.
With that out of the way now, we go into our final segment. Of course, as usual, the Mon of the Week. And the Mon of the Week this time is Mega Medicham. And what a Mon it is. Mega Medicham. You've got to prep for this thing.
I think it's so hard to switch into.
Shout out D. Willie for using this thing so well. 12 kills in 4 weeks.
And no deaths. 0.
No deaths.
Big fat 0 deaths.
R.I.P. Adam. You got
I mean, Out of anyone, though, I think I have the team to beat it with a regen core and 2 ghosts.
So
Good way to start.
So let's talk about its ability, which is pure power. I'm not joking. That's actually what its ability is called. Pure power.
Yikes.
Which doubles its attack. It just it's one of the most straightforward worded abilities out there. I appreciate how straightforward the wording is.
Doubles attack.
Doubles attack. Yeah, sheer force with its myriad of confusing little like sub interactions and
oh.
But then we just have pure power. And it's simple. It's pure simple as well.
It's base 100. It's base 100. Isn't it base?
It's base 100 attack doubled, which is 200.
Well, and yeah, and base stats don't even work like that. It's actually more.
Right.
So the thing is that Mega Medicham. I mean, the crazy thing is that people point to Mega Mawile and are just, this thing's crazy. It's broken. It's like, it's good. Mega Medicham has 5 base attack lower than Mega Mawile.
It has a higher speed tier.
And a much higher speed tier.
Much higher.
I think Clutch and I were talking about this. Like base 100 is like people do mention it as like a benchmark, but for your wall breaking Mega that's difficult to switch into,
base 100 is fine.
Yeah, because this thing 2-hit KOs so many walls.
Oh,
including its own checks and.
Yeah,
like this thing busts Toxapex easy.
Yo, it's an Oko. It's a literal
it just
flat Oko.
Straight ruins Toxapex.
It ruins cores always.
Like, yeah.
This thing
it's kind of funny that like
this thing mangles some of the best defensive cores in the game.
The thing is, it's on a Ferropex team right now.
Yeah,
it busts Ferropex, so he just took it.
Disgusting.
Yep.
And the fact that like those two like beating around wall breakers as well. Really nice.
Yeah, no.
And level 50, like its base attack is like 334. Like that the stat total, the stat that with a max attack adamant is 334.
Yeah, which is a reasonable attack stat for a level 100 mon.
That's higher than Zygarde's level 100 attack stat.
Yep. If you didn't know that this mon was dumb, you know now.
Yeah, it's brutal.
So, yeah,
and I think the only reason this thing doesn't usually get banned from as many leagues as say Mega Mawile is because its
setup options. It doesn't have them.
It doesn't have setup options, and its defensive stats are mediocre.
Yeah,
it's not, but not the worst either.
Not the worst.
60, 85, 85.
60, 85, 85 is serviceable.
You can eat something about.
It will eat a hit or two.
A neutral hit or two.
A neutral hit or two.
Correct. So, yeah, and also another thing that's kind of a nice bring with Mega Medicham and something that kind of gives it some utility is Fake Out. I think we can use this moment to have a little bit of kind of a PSA here. Have you ever
in front of something that you're faster than? You don't need to click Fake Out. That's it.
Yeah, friendly PSA from your friends at the
MagneZONE.
Yeah. Fake Out is brutal.
It's a good move. Yeah.
Especially with that base attack.
High jump kick just hits so hard off this.
Oh yeah.
I mean that's
some of the bulkiest of sidekicks.
And that's the thing. I think we talk about this a lot. That is, there's really 2 ways for Mons to be very good offensively. One of them is to have good attacking stats. The other is to have moves that have high base power. Like Lucha gets by on the fact that it has acrobatics and high jump kick as its stabs, and can get a sword stance easily, right? Because its base attack is actually kind of garbage.
It's 92. Vanillux.
Vanillux is higher.
Vanillux is a higher base attack than Halucha.
Ice cream.
Right. Well, and
the ice cream is a base 95 special physical attack.
Yeah. Well, and that goes for like you said, it's either high power moves or high power like out of the box.
And when you stick both of those together, like you give, Mega Medicham high jump kick.
Yeah.
I mean, just like legitimately show me the switch-ins.
Well, and
bulky psychics still get 2-hit
Yeah.
KO'd. That's mad.
Nimbus is 3-hit KO'd by a.
And that's crazy.
Well,
The
check that one
freaking
off the
Reuniclus.
bingo box.
Clutch Socks got Reuniclus.
Yeah.
It happened.
And
So-
just to make sure that somebody out there gets bingo, Flame Orb Facade.
Yeah.
Oh, I got
so
it.
many bingos.
There it is. And yeah, the last thing to say about Mega Medicham is that it also gets the elemental punches.
Yeah, it does
and,
get the elemental punches, which is good coverage.
So yeah, bring it to break things. Make sure that you pack, Fire Punch for the Caesar or
Wait,
Ice Punch. For
It
the
also
Zygarde.
gets Bullet Punch.
Yep.
It also gets Bullet Punch. Scared the GBs out of me playing Adam last year because the thing is,
Man.
because he had Mega Medicham and I was just like, I have no switch-ins for this. And
No one
the thing
does.
I would use to revenge it is Mega Diancie. But Mega Diancie dies to a Bullet Punch.
Mm-hmm.
My
Wow.
team was just straight countered by Adam last season.
Yo, I'm made to Mega Medicam was so much fun to use. It's ridiculous.
Good
As
partners.
long as
Mega
you don't use
Medicham.
high jump kicks.
Good partners. Tapu Koko is commonly seen as one of the best partners for Mega Medicham.
It gets Poison Jab too. Oh my god.
Yes, it does. I ran that multiple times.
Your Bulu. Just your Bulu is dead. Just give up and go home.
Mega Medicham likes good Volturn. It's one of the best
It's one of the best targets for Volturn.
Yep.
most
You bring this
certainly.
thing in off a slow Volt Switch on something that doesn't want to be in on it.
And something that it outspeeds, which
This
is easy.
physical move pool is so solid.
It's a really nice.
Yeah, it's
move pool.
ridiculous. Oh, also, if there's a bulky psychic, click return.
Uh-huh.
It's gonna-
Base
it's gonna
Hunter
KO
too.
something.
Why not?
Wow. Such a good physical move set. I'm baffled by this.
You like drooling over there?
Yeah,
like
dude. Like,
Because-
think of all the bulky cores I could stick this behind.
Dude, I brought it adamant against you.
I feel like
You put
Cossack.
all
Honestly,
out
I feel like
time.
you one thing you should do when you get a chance to watch more battles, because Cossack's been busy. For those of you who don't know, just went
yeah.
to move all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think you should go and be sure to watch some Brisbane battles because
Yeah.
I think that
I'm
team
seeing
should
that 'cause
borderline
I'm-
be.
yeah.
It should borderline be the blueprint for what you
Yeah,
for
what
something
you look
you build
for.
someday.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic team.
I mean,
Ferropex with
with
big
Mega
breakers around
Medicham.
it.
Blaze
Yeah.
and Mega Cham.
I mean, it's very
Zygarde.
similar to the concept I have for RDL Season 4. I won't say much more than that.
Fair enough.
But,
All right.
yeah.
Do we have anything more?
I mean, what else is there to say? This thing is big. Like, it hits big. It's got pure power.
Pure
It's
power.
what this thing is. It's actually just... the ability actually just straight up describes what this is. It's pure
And
power.
It's got some badass harem pants too. Honestly.
Like, oh, dude, yeah, it's got the parachute pants, man. Like, you can't touch this.
if you're not naming your Mega Medicham MC Hammer, you're doing it.
It really is, though. It hammers things.
It does.
That's a perfect nickname for it. If I ever get this, that's what I'm nicknaming it.
MC Hammer.
Oh,
yes.
Definitely. All right. Well,
Yo.
that concludes today's podcast. You can, as always, when Sam posts this in the Alola International chat, the time code for when all the Alola International coverage starts, that's available. I keep forgetting to put them in the description. I apologize for that. Last week's it was because I just had to get that thing up. I also do want to briefly say the reason that didn't get posted like I thought at the time I thought it would was because for some reason YouTube ignored what I said, and instead of posting it at the scheduled time, it just uploaded it as private, and I had to actually go in and okay it for public viewing. So I'll make sure not to make that mistake with this one. And
All
with
right.
that, we'll see you. Good luck in all your draft endeavors. Good luck in your upcoming drafts and upcoming battles. And may your free agent transactions be choice. Peace.